If y'all haven't watched it already, I would say it's pretty cotton picking worth watching. And well, that is yesterday. Tesla and SpaceX and whoever else would be involved with that successfully launched a car into space. Yes, that's a thing that happened. Car in space. That's a tourism right yonder. The real point of it, I don't really know. I mean, I don't really study that type of stuff. I'm not a rocket scientist. That saying actually works there. And to be honest, it seems probably more money than it's worth, but still, it's a tourism, there's a car in space that happened. So, even though it's probably not the most world breaking, groundbreaking thing to do, honestly, Gran Turismo kinda did something like that too. Obviously, not on that grand of scale, but, well, GT had many of his in GT car, as I'm saying here. They don't necessarily fly or go to space or whatever, but they kind of look like they could. They've kind of had that for all the GTs, and even in GT6, there was a cotton picking moon story mode or whatever. They had like 3 different missions where you do like time trials on the moon, and there was even one where you knock over cones on the moon because I don't know why, but Kaz and PD seem to always like having missions where you knock over cones. I'm not really sure why. Seems like that's something you want to avoid, knocking over cones in real life. So, the real driving simulator, you'd think it would be avoiding cones instead of knocking over cones. But whatever, it happened, and there was one where it was on the moon. So, my main point of this video is, well, should Tesla and or SpaceX or both or whatever combine with Gran Turismo PD, something like that, or Sony to make a space DLC? They've already done a space DLC for GT6. Seems like for the most part, people at least didn't hate it. I'd say a lot of people ignored it. Or did it once and never came back, aka what I did. But, I mean, it was there. It was something completely different, and it wasn't badly done. Obviously, we don't quite know yet the physics of how a car would work in space, given that we haven't actually driven the car, like, on the moon or something, like, literally had a car land on the moon. There's been, like, the buggies and stuff, but not like a production car like a Tesla Roadster. So my thing is, if they ain't quite there in real life yet, would it be worth putting it in a video game? I mean, stuff like even this ain't quite there yet. Like the Tomahawk, it may not ever be there, but hey, it's in the game. People like it. By default, it's not realistic given it's not a real thing, but if it was a real thing, maybe it would be realistic. So, at least in my opinion, it's worth trying in a video game. May not ever truly happen. There may not be a production car that drives on like the moon or whatever. It may be different vehicles that are used in space than are used on Earth, but there's already one that's kind of sort of in space. It's not really driving on anything, but it's there, and GT allows you to, well, drive on stuff, given it's a racing game, and they seem to like space, so would y'all want a space DLC? I mean, obviously, I would rather them work on legitimate racing stuff first, but I feel like some of these DLCs that are kind of forced in or whatever that don't feel too natural, like the ones where you get like the all the Viz and Gran Turismos that come with their own video or whatever that don't really serve all that much of a purpose. Those aren't the most realistic. Those probably aren't even the most driven, but they're probably worked on by other people more than Gran Turismo because it sells to other people's product. So I don't think it would actually make Gran Turismo be hindered any by having a space DLC. And if we get it, hey, there's a space DLC. I mean, that's not that many other racing games can say that. Forza has a lot of things, and a lot of the things that honestly are better than Gran Turismo now. They don't have a space DLC, I really don't think. They have Hot Wheels in the Horizon game. They have like Dodge Rams. They they have the team. I'm getting off subject, but space DLC. Should they or should they not add it to GT? Would it even be something that would realistically happen? That's the question I'm asking. If you want to answer, leave it in the comments or whatever. But I think it would be an okay idea as long as it is more of the other people working on it instead of PD working on it. PD maybe just makes like the car models or whatever. and then SpaceX and Tesla do like the physics and stuff, because I don't really think PD knows all that much about space physics yet. I'm not really sure who did the moon physics engine. I don't know. That might be something worth looking up, but yeah. Other people do it to promote their product, which I assume was the whole point of this, because now we're talking about Tesla, because space, those two go together, I guess. But anyway, we're talking about it, so even though these two don't go together the best, even if the space DLC doesn't really fit this game, it could be something, and maybe something interesting. That might be worth a yeehaw. We don't know till it happens.